Hey, Dr. Phil here, and I have a question for you about something you have read in the news just in the last few months. On Friday, March 13th, at the last minute, the Senate passed a budget averting a government shutdown. They had until 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time Friday night. Now, every year, the budget has to be passed. Every year, Congress must pass and the president must sign a budget consisting of 12 appropriations bills. This isn't a surprise. It's not like somebody shows up and says, hey, New Deal, hate to throw this on you at the last minute, but you have to have a budget this year. This is not a surprise. There's had to be a budget every year that we've had this country. But here's the thing that's bugging me. Congress has not passed these appropriations on time in 42 of the last 45 years. Think about it. Don't you hear it every single time? Each time they're threatening a government shutdown.
Shutdowns are not good for the economy.
Shutdowns cost taxpayers billions of dollars per week.
Shutdowns cost the economy billions of dollars.
This year alone, we faced 3 different shutdown deadlines. The first 2 times, lawmakers agreed on short-term extensions. This time, they finally passed the budget. Now, the first 200 years of America, not one shutdown. 10 shutdowns in the last 25 years. Here's my problem with this.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I forgot.
They know this is coming. They know it all year long. They're not sitting around going, oh, wait a minute, we forgot we had to have a budget. This is what we elect them to do, is it not? This is what we send them there to do. They're running the government. This is a business. If you were in any other business in America, if you had a bicycle shop, if you were running Ford Motor Company, if you were running a bakery shop, it wouldn't matter. If you have to have a budget, if you have to have the money to pay people, if you have to have the money to get your product, if you have to have the money to get supplies, if you have to work out a budget so you can plan ahead, and you didn't do it, you would go out of business. You know why? Because you don't have a printing press. You can't go across the street and just print up money when you need it. You can't just decide, oh, hey, we haven't figured out the budget yet, so we'll just have an extension. Do you think your bank would give you an extension if you just called them and said, hey, I didn't get my budget done, so we don't have a plan, we don't have any money, we just need an extension. Give us 90 days and we'll get around to the budget. We got busy. No, you don't have sense enough to run a business, so you're out of business. That's the way the world works everywhere except in the government. Everywhere except in the government. How long are we going to do this? And here's the problem. It doesn't matter what it is. If you do something stupid long enough, if you do something incompetent long enough, it starts to feel normal. It gets normalized to where nobody reacts to it anymore. And so everybody just says, yeah, that's just kind of the way it goes. We just put up with it. Well, we shouldn't be putting up with it. Everywhere else in the world, shutdowns are not accepted. Not for a second are they accepted, and they are practically impossible. For example, in a parliamentary system, no budget means a new election. If they don't get a budget done, kick them to the curb and get somebody in there that knows what they're doing. Now, the problem is we're normalizing this. Think of all the things that have been normalized in our society. They're highly dysfunctional. They don't make sense. If you sit down and look at them under a bright light and you say, would you like to normalize this and make it okay? You would say absolutely not. But days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, things just keep repeating and we get so acclimated to it, we just let it happen. Think of a few examples. Can you imagine somebody gets the privilege of a driver's license? but there are laws associated with that driver's license. And they say, okay, we're going to give you this driver's license, but you can't operate a car if you're drunk. Okay? You can have this license. We give it to you on the condition that you cannot drive if you drink. If you get to the point that you're 0.08, you can't drive. That's a condition of having this privilege of a driver's license. But people do it, so they get a ticket for DUI or DWI, whatever it's called in your state. And you know what? They say, well, okay, shouldn't have done that. We're going to give you a ticket and a fine, but go ahead. You can keep driving. So they get another DUI, another DWI, whatever they call it, and they go, oh, all right, that's twice. Now we told you. So we're going to tell you again, you can have a bigger fine. And we know that when you drive under the influence, that your reflexes are slow, that your judgment is impaired, that your coordination is not good, and you're in a 4,000-pound missile here. You could run into somebody else and kill them, and that often is what happens. But we're going to give you a bigger ticket, and you can go on. How many times do you read a story in the newspaper where a family of 4 on the way home from church or something was killed by a drunk driver, and when you check, you find out they had 6 or 7 DUIs, and they continued to have a driver's license? Why? Because it just gets normalized in our society. Judges just say, well, you know what, I'm going to give you a bigger fine and a good talking to. And they think that fine equals rehabilitation, I guess, so they put them back out there on the street. It just gets normalized. It just gets normalized. Think about San Francisco. How many times do you think people were shocked when they first walked out onto the street and there was a heroin addict there, had a needle hanging out of their arm and they're unconscious? They were appalled. What happens now? It's happened so many times, they just step over them because it got normalized. Well, look at what's happening in our government. What do you think happened the first time the budget came around and people said, you know what? We spent more money than we took in, so we have to have a deficit budget. I suspect people were like, oh my God, we can't do that. We ran out of money. We can't do that anymore. But then it happened the next year. Then it happened the next year. And now we have a $37 trillion deficit. $37 trillion. And we're so used to it that we're going $2 trillion in debt every year, and they're still writing programs to give away money. Cancel school loans. Oh, no, they're not canceling them. They're forgiving them. Somebody borrowed money and they have to pay it back. No, we just forgive it. Well, what about the lender? They have to be paid, right? Well, so who pays it? You pay it. The government pays it. We have all these programs. We're in debt. We don't have money to give away, but we keep giving away money anyhow. Because why? Because we just got acclimated to it. We just got used to it. You teach people how to treat you. Let me say that again. You teach people how to treat you. We elected these people, we put them in office, and they show up without a budget passed on time. All right? We need to make it very, very clear. Do your job or we'll find somebody that will. We've gotten used to it. We need to stop pretending this is normal. It isn't normal. It is not normal. It is not normal. Think about it. I want to hear from you. Send me an email, send me a message, send me a text, post it on our site, and tell me what you think we've gotten used to that just isn't normal. It just doesn't make common sense, but it's happened so often that we've just shrugged our shoulders and said, hey, that's just the way it is. Well, that's not the way it was, and that isn't the way it should be, and we need to start putting our foot down and saying enough is enough and too much is too much. And we're letting things creep in that are absolutely not okay. We've just gotten used to them. And we need to stop doing that, and we need to stop it right now. That's the real story.
Wherever you're getting the real story, make sure you subscribe and follow. I'll see you tomorrow. Your body is a system, and when it's running right, you feel focused, energized, in flow, but sometimes we struggle to find that flow state. Why? Because there's too much static in our system, brain fog, fatigue, and inflammation. The Echo Flask clears the static by infusing your water with molecular hydrogen, a natural science-backed gas that helps your body think sharper, recover faster, and run smoother. This is more than hydration. It's better focus, more energy, faster recovery, less internal stress, and longer-term benefits that keep you sharp. When your water works harder, your whole system does too. Find your flow state with the Echo Flask hydrogen water bottle and get an unlimited supply of hydrogen water at home and on the go. Visit echowater.com/Phil and use code Phil for 10% off. That's echowater.com/Phil. Enter code Phil to save 10%.